Good morning. It's a very crisp Sunday morning. It's going to be hot today too, so I'm thinking the fishing is going to be on fire today. I'm actually fishing directly across the river from Goldie and Kevin. They're about 150 yards away, so if I really pushed it, I'm sure I could cast a spalm of corn right over top of their heads. But we're doing two different things. We're kind of doing a two-part video here. So they're fishing over there in some really fast water, kind of like a really tight back eddy that's close to shore. Like really, they're fishing under their rod tips for a high volume of fish. So they're really likely to get a ton of bites today, but because of the fast water and the rocky conditions, they have to use very specific tactics to try and maximize how many of those fish make it to the net. Baiting strategy is different for them as well. Where I am, even as close as we are on this river system, the current that they're fishing is actually on the other side. So from just past half to the other bank, and I'm fishing a very weedy, very slow water spot. So I don't get the volume of fish here, but I'm hoping I get a slightly better quality. This is not a big fish place. I think the biggest one I know of that's come out of here is only 20 or 21 pounds. But there's some really nice dark ones in here. There is a pretty high percentage of mirrors in this river system. Compared to most of the other places we fish here in Canada, mirrors are still pretty rare. So we have a good chance that either they or myself will get a mirror or a really dark, like almost black or chestnutty looking fish. But yeah, different tactics, different spots, so close together, almost casting distance. And yeah, as the sun starts to crest up over the hill, mist starts to burn off, fish are already boiling like crazy. I got my first cast out there. I'm fishing a very particular set of tactics and rig system here to fish with the conditions I have compared to what they have over there. Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm so stoked. Oh, okay, so already I literally just put my line in. As far as I know, Goldie has had, they've had lines in the water for less than 10 minutes. Goldie has already missed two fish and landed one, and I just saw Kevin jump down on the rod, so he's into one already. I literally just put my line in. I haven't even had a sniff yet. But that's the good comparison between what we're doing. They are on a high volume of fish. I don't have as many, but hopefully the better quality. So let's see what happens. Gotcha. There you go. Well, good morning. This place looks familiar. It should. It's the if you watch the runs video, this is where we are. John isn't with me right now. He is about 100 yards downstream. He is fishing a flatter, calmer water. After I put this fish back, I put my line back in, I will explain what we are doing here. But yeah, I just threw my line in. This is the third fish I've had. I've lost two, and I caught this big beauty. So, put it back, explain what I'm doing. You can see to my right, there's another rod here. Kevin's with me. We're going to fish together. So, yeah, great way to start the morning. Go back in the water now. Whoop. Yeah, I might have soiled myself a little there. Okay, back we go. Oh, yeah. Well, he probably hit the rocks. Well, it's time to do a proper intro now. So as I explained when I had the fish, we are trying two different tactics. John's about 100 yards downstream from us, and Kevin and I are right here. So we're fishing the same water, but it's very different between the two sites. His is very slack water. I got a lot of weeds.
Ours is fast moving water, as you can probably see behind me, and we got a good current, but we have a lot of fish here that are competing for food. So we get a lot more bites, we get a lot more hits, because the fish are much more competitive up here because the water is moving so fast, and anything they see they just want to grab at. So it's gone a little quiet right now, probably because my rig's sitting weird, but I need to do this intro. So what we're going to do is Kevin and I are just going to slam it up here, catch like 100,000 fish. Well, John sits in slack water and tries to catch our fish.
Oh, right over my hook bait. That's a good fish.
Once this fog lifts a little bit more, I'll be able to take some video of John over there by himself. Oh, I'm supposed to laugh at that. It's sad.
Come on. Freaking liners.
All right, I'll wait. That's fine.
Holy macaroni. I can tell, dude.
Okay, you're good to go in now.
Yeah?
You're good, yeah. Going right.
I'm in some dangerous water. That might not be a good idea.
Oh, you found weed.
Yeah. That's where I was getting them all last time though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm coming to land your fish. Okay. Another one, John.
Fuck, these are bigger already. These two are bigger than what I saw last time.
Yeah? Yeah, I haven't seen them this big around here either.
Nice fish.
Mother of pearl.
And not too banged up either.
There's a lot of fish on me right now. I was not expecting this many fish to be coming up over my spot. They're bubbling, they're coming up in the weeds. They're bumping into the line steady. You can keep seeing the tip bounce. I just need a bite because right now they're crushing it over there. Oh, that was a good fish. Oh, man. over me. This is not supposed to be the high volume spot. There's a lot of fish here.
You don't scare me this time of having your rod go off. It made me jump like a foot.
That's nice fish. Nice.
Oh, he's a good fish. Beauty. Goldie's in number 2, folks. I'm batting 50%. I never bat 50%. I usually bat like 2%. Whoa. Fish number 2 for me. Batting 50%. I've lost 2, I caught 2. These are good sized. They're not normally this big around here. So, like I said in my intro, which was about 5 minutes ago, I will talk about my rig now. The sun is just starting to crest over the hill, so it's going to get really, really hot out here. It's already super humid. So, I'll put him back and I'll talk about my rig. And evil fish. Oh, man. Finally! There's like no fight to this fish. And of course, Demir is calling me right now. Well, it took me a little longer than the other guys, but I did get a fish, and I'm quite happy about it. The first one's always the toughest one to get. Funny enough, this place is a place that's known for really hard fighting fish, and he's fighting more now than he did on the line. Settle, settle. Perfectly. Oh yeah, that wasn't coming out, that was in there perfect. So my rig and setup, like I mentioned earlier, it's different from the other guys because of the different conditions. But the real results are pretty much the same. We're catching fish now. And glad to get off the mark so early. And I'm hoping that there's some better ones to come along, because I've seen some seriously good fish, like big fish for this water, coming up around me. And yeah, I've seen some of the dark ones rise too, so I'm really after them.
I'm gonna get this fish back, and I think I'll talk to you a little bit about the tactic that I'm using, and then we'll see what else we can catch. Oh, you bugger.
So here we go, this is the rig I'm using. Very simple, like it usually is. 90-gram lead, anti-tangle sleeve, about, I don't know, 10 inches of ESP strip tees, little split shot right there. Size, I think it's 4, Monster Carp Universal Perfection hook, and 2 pieces of rubber cord that are stuck together. By now you'll have seen probably our ESP little video that we did talking about this corn and how much John wanted to get this because he usually fishes 2 pieces of floating corn. So I thought, well, might as well try it here. Like I said, the fish are so competitive that it's pretty much, if they see something shiny or something different, they go for it. And so far I've had 4 fish, 2 lost, 2 on, so the theory's working here. So it doesn't matter, it really doesn't matter what you put on as long as it's flashy and the fish like looking at it. So as long as you can get that going for you, then it's fairly easy to fish here because they are just so competitive. Like it's crazy. So I'm gonna put this back in. I'll try for another one here, though Kevin needs to get one because I'm making him look bad because I'm not supposed to catch fish. That's not my job. My job is to be camera guy. Might have to make a call over to John and see how he's doing because I think he caught one, but the humidity is so bad my glasses are fogging up. The lenses are all fogging up. So I'm going to put this back in and try for another one.
Okay, so rig-wise, it's probably not too far off what I normally use in most scenarios as far as the initial rig goes. I'm just using a pop-up setup. It is a tube blowback setup. It's got a little piece of tubing there holding the hair to just kind of even with the barb. I also have shrink tube on there, something I don't normally use, but I've been using a little bit more this season. Overall, the hook length's about 8.5 9 inches. Little 16 mil pop-up, like I said, tube blowback with some shrink tube on there, just as a bit of a stronger kicker. And you know, I've also been struggling with having my knotless knots kind of come loose and kind of tangle a little bit. So I found that the shrink tube is definitely pinning that down and preventing that problem from happening. One split shot, I think it's a little bit bigger than BB size, is probably 1.5 inches, maybe 1.75 inches from the edge of the shrink tube. Then, like I said, total is maybe 8.5 9 inches of hook length. So from the split shot to the anti-tangle sleeve, there's probably about 3.5 4 inches there, just because I want this to kick away. And then I'm clipping this rig onto a lead clip with lead core, about 3 feet of lead core. Another fish there. So the reason for the lead clip, I'm also using a gripper lead with the lead clip, is it's a very weedy spot over here with this slow water. So the spot I'm actually fishing on is about the size of 2 small cars parked beside each other. So it's a big spot overall, but when you got a fish that's going to take off, it's not a lot of space for them to run. And this whole area right out to where the current is and out past behind me here, it's like a thick wall of weed that's actually really thick stuff. Like if you cast, your lead's pretty much going to sit on top of it. It's not even going through it. So these fish, they'll fight around in this little open spot here, but then they tend to just bury right into those weeds. So I wanted to have a lead clip so that lead can come off and hopefully get those fish a little bit higher than the layers. Now the lead didn't come off on that last fish. The fish stayed in close, didn't fight. I can only assume it's because he just didn't put enough effort in to really shake that off of there, because it's not set tight. Now over where they are, I'm sure they're going to mention in the video that they're filming, if I was there, for sure I'd be using an inline setup. So probably the same rig, but I would have it about half as long, quite short actually, if it were me, and an inline setup, because those fish are all right there, right close, and they just kind of grab it and go. Here they have more time to look at it, more time to sniff around it and see if there's a trap. So I tend to make it a little bit longer, and if I find that I'm getting more liners and not pickups, I'll probably add another 4 or 5 inches to that and make it a really long hook link. But so far, at least I've had a fish. For some reason that fish really did spook everything out of this area, so I'm only having one fish rise every 5-6 minutes rather than the 30 seconds that it started out with. Oh, oh, oh. Come on. Well, there's a bump. I'm thinking that was more of a liner though. So, as I tend to get a little overexcited, I just threw that rig. So I'm going to have to find that, and hopefully these fish will push back in. In a little while later, I think I'll talk about the actual baiting strategy. I'm definitely doing something different than them. Some similarities, but trying to put a few more odds in my favor to get a bigger fish. But it's good to know that there's something still there near my rig. Yeah, it's a good morning so far.
No. Stay out of them sticks. Stay out of the sticks.
Thanks to the camera.
It's a nice fish.
Wow, he's really angry.
Yeah, he's mad, eh? Well, the same as your fish?
It's a little bit smaller. Pretty close. Oh man. Just trying to tighten up the line. I had a damn take. Okay, so you saw me just recast, just tightening my line, and I had a take while I was holding the line, and no hook left. Actually broke the 25-pound strip tease. Looks like right where the shrink tube was. So either there was a weakness there from when I tied it, or there was a muscle or something down there, but on the upside the fish only has the hook to get rid of. On the downside, I just missed one. So I gotta get another rig out there. means I need another pop-up and I need another stick. It's been about an hour since that last fish. I did have a take where the hook link snapped, unfortunately, so that fish I didn't even get to fight. Oh, hold still. But finally I got another one that barely fought in the water again, and it's going nuts here. So a little bit bigger, not much bigger head. But yeah, finally another bite. So I'm gonna get myself situated, get that line back in, and I'll talk a little bit about the baiting strategy. And hopefully things will pick up a little bit more. It's so unusual that it's this slow, especially for them over there. Well, now that's 2 fish to the mat, so I'm quite pleased with that. You know, it's unfortunate that I did you know, have the issue with my hook link on that other fish, but it's part of fishing. So I mentioned that I have a different baiting strategy, certainly than they're using across the river from us. It's not all that dissimilar, but I'm adding a few things. So we are both baiting with corn, just some cooked cattle corn or maize. Just using the throwing stick with the big baiting spoon on it, and I'm throwing 1 or 2 spoons out every half hour or so. If I see a lot of fish rising, I might add a 3rd spoon into that. But if it's pretty calm like it is now, where there's not a lot of fish coming up, you know, 1 or 2, that's it. And then I leave that until either I get a bite or I see a big flurry of fish come in, and I know they're cleaning that out, so I throw a bit more in there to get them competing with each other. So to add to that, you know, fishing just a single pop-up over that, sometimes they get so preoccupied on those little free offerings that they don't look at that slightly larger hook bait. Yeah, I could go down to a 12 mil pop-up, but I want to try and focus more on some of the larger fish that are here. And I do know that using the smaller pop-ups here, we get a lot of the smaller carp. You know, I'm talking some of them that might be in the 1 or 2 pound range will come along. So with the maize and with the corn, I'm actually throwing out about 9 or 10 boilies with the slingshot over right where my hook bait is. So, you know, I am casting around a little bit, not staying on one spot, moving along that weed line, kind of creating this whole bed of bait out there. So 8 or 9 boilies around the hook bait, maybe every, just about after every knock or bump, or certainly if I got a take. You know, I'm throwing a few boilies out there. As soon as I know there's a fish in and around my hook bait, I want those free offerings to make them, again, compete with one another, but also to draw their attention to that spot. You know, being curious, they will rush in and see what's falling, and quite often that's what's happening. That's how I've gotten my 2 bites. Also, to add one more thing into the mix, about every 3rd recast I'm putting on a little PVA stick. Not a huge one, but full of you know, a nice ground bait mix that I have, you know, really soaked with a lot of liquids. Try and get those attractors in there. So yeah, about every 3rd recast, one of those goes out. And again, that's just to keep them focused in on right where my hook bait is, when I've got so many other different free offerings out there. So it might seem like a little bit much, but with no current here, I don't have anything to really draw the fish right to my spot. They are just kind of passing by or passing through, and I'm hoping that they get their noses down. Some of them might not want corn, some of them might not want boilies, but I want them to get that pop-up. So whatever I can do to concentrate my energy around that hook bait, you know, hopefully will trigger that take from, you know, whatever happens to be going by. Yeah, yeah, slow morning, a little bit slower than expected. Certainly, you know, for the guys across the way, they're really struggling over there for some reason, but they have had fish, and they've had, I don't know, 10 or 12 bites. So it's not going that bad for them. You know, this is where I stick the dig in right now, you know, saying it's a skill level issue and not necessarily that the fish aren't there, but that would be mean, I guess, technically. But they won't see this till later on, so I guess I can say that right now. So I'm going to keep plugging away. I'm going to keep watching the water, you know, throw boilies out every now and then. I will mention that it is 15 mil boilies that I'm putting out to try and match the hook bait size as close as I can. You know, everything else seems to be right. The only thing I might change in a little while is I might change the pop-up. You know, something that's been glugged for a while, something that's got a little bit more attractors to kick out maybe a cloud. I've got some that I've soaked in goo, so that might do it. But for right now, things are going well. I'm gonna kick back and reassess and see where we need to go from here. Wow. Such a finicky little bite. Those weeds. Bammo, number 3. And the phone's going off. There's Demir again. It's starting to become a habit, I guess. I let this fish rest in the net for a bit. Starting to become a habit that Demir's calling me when I'm about to put one in the net. But as long as I'm putting him in the net, that doesn't matter. He can keep calling all he wants. Now, oh, settle down. I did mention that I should be getting a better stamp of fish over at this spot compared to the other guys, but it seems to be the other way around today. They're getting no numbers where they should be, but they're getting bigger fish. Whereas I'm getting a little bit more than I expected, but they're tiny. Just little guys. But you know what? I'm catching. The tactics are working. The baiting strategy is working. And most importantly, the rig's working. So I have no reason to complain. You know, I do fish this particular spot hoping for those really, really dark ones that I know are over here, as well as the mirrors that come through. But when it comes down to it, I'm out to catch fish, and I'm achieving that. So, you know, just paying attention to the water, pay attention to the conditions, even when you're, you know, really close to a spot where you know you should be bagging them up and just catching like crazy. Sometimes just going down the bank and changing your tactics a little bit can make all the difference in the world. Oh, I think Kevin just put one in the net, so they're starting to catch up. I better wipe some of this slime off and get my line back in.
What a fish.
That's in there. He's left. Ooh, he's an angry bastard. No. An angry run.
Yep. Out of my camera shot.
Oh no. Oh no. Get up. Oh no, he's hung up. No, he's not.
Got him.
Did you get the run or no?
Yeah.
I was getting a fight, but he decided to move.
Good shape today.
Yeah, these ones are healthy, eh?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, get out of those weeds. Oh, he's in the weeds. Oh, come on, get out of there. Okay, I think this is becoming a bit of a joke. Now Goldie is calling me constantly because he sees that I have a fish on. Oh, come on. Number 4 is in the net. So now apparently I have some phone calls I have to take care of. Not a bad fish, but what a hit. Oh my God. Well, here's fish number 4. I may not have gotten the larger stamp of fish that I was expecting, but like I said, I'm catching, and that's what matters. It seems to be tough conditions. Like the guys they should be hitting them like crazy, and they're not. So obviously the tactics are working here. You know, this fish is a little bit darker, but it's not the real dark ones that I'm after. But beautiful colors nonetheless. Again, around the same size as the others. You know, not big, but scrappy, full of energy. And you know, when you're out for a bite and you get them, that's what matters. So I'm gonna wrap up here. And I think if I do manage one of those special fish that I'm after, I'll slap that onto the end of the video here. But if not, I'm sure we'll be in for another adventure at some point soon. And I'm just going to enjoy the rest of the day's fishing. In fact, they're doing so poorly over there, I think they might pack up and come over here. I'll wait till they get all the way over here, and then I'll tell them that there's going to be a $5 charge to put their stuff next to mine.